On World News Tonight this Monday, Saddam Hussein says he will not let the latest UN weapons inspection team do its job. Too many Americans, he says. So what now? The Asian economic crisis, another terrible day. Should Americans be getting more concerned? We'll take a closer look. And why does the government insist on paying more than it needs to pay for certain things? The Monday edition of Your Money.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, Monday, January 12th. This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. Yes, the newsroom here at ABC News in New York has been, well, modernized is as good a word as any. It may take us a while to get used to it, but this is where we're going to work. And there are some changes in the broadcast, which you will see. But we're going to begin with a development in the news which is all too familiar. The United States and Iraq. Iraq and the United Nations have got themselves into yet another bind. Today, the Iraqis have told the latest United Nations weapons inspection team that it will not be allowed to work in Iraq. It has too many Americans. And so first we go to ABC's Ron Claiborne, who's in Baghdad.
The UN inspectors encountered no trouble this morning, but by day's end, the situation had changed drastically. The Iraqis announced that starting tomorrow, they will no longer allow a predominantly American team, headed by an American, Scott Ritter, to take part in any inspections. Iraq's deputy foreign minister said tonight sending in a new group of 16 inspectors, 9 of whom were Americans, was a slap in the face.
We didn't do anything. They did it. To our mind, this is not a provocation. We are provoked.
It's not just the composition of Ritter's inspection team the Iraqis object to, but Ritter himself. He is a former Marine Corps officer, Gulf War veteran, and the Iraqis have suggested is actually an American spy. The Iraqis insist they will stop the Ritter team from conducting any more inspections and only allow it to resume when what they call its imbalance is corrected. Ron Claiborne, ABC News, Baghdad.
Well, we know this is going to get worse before it gets better. Tomorrow, the chief weapons inspector for the United Nations will insist that his team go to work. And naturally, the president is involved, and so we're going to go to the White House. Nice to have you back on the beat again, Sam Donaldson. Are we having another test of manhood between Mr. Clinton and President Hussein?
Well, it may be that, Peter. The president responded today to Iraq's latest provocation with what has become, however, a standard script. Saddam must comply or else, without exactly specifying what that or else might be.
In the Oval Office, the president was asked about Iraq's latest challenge to American inspectors.
If Saddam Hussein does this, it is a clear and serious violation of the United Nations Security Council resolution. If they are denied the right to do their job tomorrow, then I expect the United Nations Security Council to take strong and appropriate action.
The director of the UN's team, Richard Butler, conferred with Secretary General Kofi Annan late today after writing the Security Council that his team had already conducted inspections at 7 sites today when Iraq stopped them. Butler said he's instructing the team to proceed with its business tomorrow, thus setting up another showdown. So how long will this go on? Presidential spokesman Mike McCurry was asked.
There's some portion of the public that believes the administration is not acting firmly enough, that Saddam is getting away with murder.
Well, he's getting away with, willful violations and harassment of UN objectives there, and the UN has responded to that.
The administration insists this is a UN problem. But if Saddam gets away with blocking American inspectors, White House officials here understand it will be seen as a victory over the U.S. and Bill Clinton, not over UN Secretary General Kofi Annan.
Sam, on the weapons question itself, the UN has been off the job for a while. Does the White House think the situation is better, worse, or about the same?
Well, the situation is worse because clearly the inspectors, Peter, are now getting to the sensitive sites. And the reason Saddam is digging in, according to White House officials, is that there is, in fact, something to hide.
Sam, thanks very much. Sam Donaldson at the White House. Nice to have you back on the beat, as I said. Now, in Asia today, another casualty in the region's economic crisis, which makes it a world crisis. In Hong Kong, one of the most prominent banks in all of Asia, the Peregrine Investment Bank, said that it was being forced to close down. And the Hong Kong stock market, which has been in a precarious state for months, dropped nearly 9%. And the rest of Asia certainly noticed. ABC's Jim Laurie is in Hong Kong.
Tempers flared at Peregrine Investment Bank today. A stockbroker who had just lost his job took off after photographers.
Take the film out.
Only to be arrested. He was one of nearly 2,000 employees packing their bags as this powerful investment house went under. A failure that sent Hong Kong stocks to their lowest level in nearly 3 years. Peregrine had been among the fastest growing firms in Asia, but then it made a big mistake, loaning more than $600 million to companies in Indonesia. Now, Indonesia's economy has crashed. There are real worries the Indonesians may default on nearly $100 billion owed to banks all over the world.
We're not seeing, I think, the Indonesian authorities make the commitments and take the tough decisions, the tough steps that need to be taken to solve this crisis.
That's why U.S. and international bank officials are meeting Indonesian leaders. They know this crisis could have devastating effects on the world economy.
Here in Hong Kong, no further bank failures are expected, but in Indonesia, analysts say at least 100 could collapse. Much of Asia struggling to get out from under a mountain of debt. Jim Laurie, ABC News, Hong Kong.
Once again, the U.S. markets took notice of what happened in Asia as well. The Dow Jones dropped more than 100 points right after the opening bell, but the market bought its way back, closing up 66 points at 76.47. On the NASDAQ market, stocks gained 4 points. A little later in the broadcast, we're going to take a closer look at what the turmoil in Asia means for Americans and why we should care, or why should we care, depending on your point of view. Also tonight, some of the day's other news, trying to recover from one of the worst storms ever and getting a little help from across the way. And why is the government spending twice as much as it needs to on medical supplies? It is your money.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Office Depot.
Dilbert for Office Depot.
Dilbert, I'd like you to meet Ben, our newest Fast Track manager.
Hi.
Ben has no real experience, but he's very tall, so we know he'll go far.
I also have executive-style hair.
We think it will turn silver.
Business doesn't always make sense, but Office Depot does. With over 7,000 different office products, plus guaranteed low prices and free delivery on any order over $50. Business is crazy, but Office Depot makes sense.
Relief can't come fast enough when you have diarrhea.
We have a problem. We have a delay. We're gonna miss our window.
Our guy needs Imodium AD.
You need something faster.
Faster?
Faster.
Introducing Imodium Advanced with a new formula that adds a second medicine for more complete relief that's even faster than Imodium AD. Nothing works like new Imodium Advanced. Faster relief you can count on.
There is miserable weather today in the top 2 corners of the country. In Oregon, 30,000 people lost power in a blitz of snow and freezing rain. In Maine and in upstate New York, single-digit temperatures are making it harder to clean up and make repairs after last week's ice storm. Across the border in parts of Canada, things are even worse. It is so bad that Prime Minister Jean Chrétien has appealed to Canadians to help each other. And it turns out they have, showing up with some ingenious solutions. ABC's Bill Rediker reports from Montreal.
So I haven't got power yet.
Len McDougall had had enough. The ice storm knocked down his trees, disconnected his power, and made life, well, difficult. For 7 days and 7 cold nights, he and the neighbors on his side of the street have been without electricity. But across the street, plenty of power. That gave Len an idea.
And hopefully it'll work.
Using an extension cord, he tapped into the electrical outlet on Francine Paget's home.
Now over to my house and see if the furnace goes on. Thanks again, Francine.
It worked. Enough power to start up and run his furnace.
Thank you, Lord.
A simple solution, a profound result.
In a crisis situation, people have to help each other out, and that's what we're going to do.
And they did. Within hours, orange extension cords connected both sides of the street. 5 homes hooked up and warm.
It does get us back to what it has a lot of meaning in life and the sort of links that form a community and looking out for each other.
Sharing power through people power. It's how they're coping on Beacon Hill Road. Bill Rediker, ABC News, Montreal.
On the subject of weather in the Middle East, Jerusalem covered in snow. The first major snowstorm in 6 years left a foot of snow on the ground, closing most schools and businesses. Most people seem to enjoy it. Even the soldiers were throwing snowballs. The Federal Aviation Administration said today that the inspections it ordered last week of some of the newer 737s have not revealed any problems. The inspections were prompted by some missing screws in the horizontal stabilizers of a Silk Air 737 that crashed last month in Indonesia. The Asian economies in a state of crisis. We'll take a closer look at what it means for the United States when we come back.
An important message from James Lee Witt, Director, Federal Emergency Management Agency.
You could be at risk of suffering a flood during hurricane season, even if you live miles from the coast. Only flood insurance covers you for flood damage. Fortunately, it's available from FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program. It takes 30 days before policies go into effect, so it's important to buy flood insurance now. Do something for yourself and your family. Please call the toll-free number on your screen or your insurance agent today.
No, I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me.
Buick LeSabre is built to keep you safe and secure. A comforting thought, especially for those who aren't even in the car.
Stand by me.
Anybody home?
Sometimes the best reunions happen by chance.
We were hungry.
Now you can always be ready with new Color Lock storage bags from Ziploc. New Ziploc bags have a special Color Lock seal, the only color seal you can both see and feel. So what goes in Color Lock today comes out Ziploc fresh tomorrow.
Great meal, Mom.
You got something I could take this home in? I think I could find something.
New Ziploc brand Color Lock bags. Ziploc was made for tomorrow.
If you've tried to quit but are still smoking, try something different. Not a patch, not a gum, but prescription medicines that can help you quit smoking. Ask your doctor or call 1-888-959-STOP and get ready for success.
When heartburn and pain get you, don't get any of these for complete relief. Problems this bad need Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief, plus medicines for all your symptoms. The 100% solution, Alka-Seltzer.
Tonight we're going to take a closer look at the economic crisis in Asia because there is renewed fear here that what is happening there may make bad things happen here. There are several questions we can try to answer. How might Asian problems become our problems? What, if anything, can the United States do about the Asian crisis? Should the United States do anything? In Hong Kong, it's already Tuesday morning. The stock market there will soon be open again. Throughout Asia today, they are bracing themselves. Hong Kong has just had one of its worst business days in modern history. And there is no separating what's happening there from what is happening here. 7,200 miles away in Northridge, California, this is the Harman Kardon plant where they make audio components for Toyota and Mitsubishi. The company relies on Asia for 14% of its business. And like a lot of American companies which do business there, they have had layoffs of workers here. So what happens in Asia is not so far away after all. Here's ABC's Robert Krulwich.
Yes, they are in trouble over there, but what is the connection to us? We all know that Asians are getting poorer right now, but consider a typical unskilled worker in Thailand, like this guy. 6 months ago, he was making about $69 a month. At this point, same guy for the same work, because wages have fallen, he's now making $15.50 a month. That is a drastic drop. Admittedly, it's for the very poor. But now ask yourself, if poor folks in Bangkok used to stop every so often for a soda pop, you recognize the Pepsi here, if you're earning $15.50 a month, do you buy a 25-cent soda? I don't think so. And that is the first effect. A host of U.S. companies that depend on customers over in Asia are now experiencing fewer sales, which means a drop in profits, which could affect the stock. So the problems in Asia could make many American companies a teeny bit poorer, or it could get much worse. But there is yet another possible effect. Since last summer, currencies all over Asia have been devalued, meaning they're worth less and less and less in American money. Now, anybody who's traveled already knows when a currency's devalued, the things they make in that country become bargains for Americans. So here is the second effect. If Asians are too poor to sell their goods at home to each other, where are they going to sell their stuff? Well, to us. The United States could be flooded with Asian toys and electronics that could get cheaper and cheaper. And at first, it wouldn't be so bad if car prices drop, say, 5%, might even be nice. But at some point, if prices for Toyotas and Hyundais get too low, GM workers and Ford workers would say, well, who's going to buy our cars? We can't compete against prices like this. So, bottom line, maybe this whole Asian problem will just pass us by and prices drop a bit, or
if U.S. companies see profits really drop, and then prices really drop, and then stocks start to drop,
then the trouble in Asia could turn into big trouble right here. Robert Krulwich, ABC News.
So since it is such a mess in Asia, the question is, what can the United States do to fix it, if anything? The International Monetary Fund wants to provide a $100 billion bailout. And the IMF is asking the United States for about $19 billion to replenish its funds. Many members of Congress do not want to ante up. ABC's Cokie Roberts joins us from Capitol Hill tonight. Cokie, good evening.
Good evening, Peter.
This is an interesting coalition that the opponents have put together between conservatives and liberals. How did it come together and why?
Well, we've seen that kind of coalition before on some foreign policy matters, and what you have is conservatives who don't want to spend that much money and also don't want to give President Clinton a win if he asks for this. And you have liberals who say, why should we be bailing out big banks? Those aren't our people, and their problems here at home. Why should we be helping Asia? So you get those two groups together, and then the president finds himself having to go vote by vote by vote, trying to put together the bailout package.
And is it a coalition you think can hang together, or is the president likely to have his way as he did ultimately with Mexico?
Well, you've got members of Congress heading for Asia now. There'll be lots of hearings at the beginning when Congress comes back into session, and they will try to educate people about these things. But I think the president will probably eventually get it because of the concern about American companies like we've just seen. But he might have to give up some other big-ticket items for that, Peter, like Special Trading Authority and the UN dues payments.
Okay, Cokie, thank you very much. Cokie Roberts on Capitol tonight. As I said, there's a very serious debate already about whether a bailout will work. The argument goes, if they manage to blow it on their own, why should the United States give them more money to make it even bigger? The mess, that is. Joining us this evening is Todd Buchholz, an expert on the market and a former economic advisor to President Bush. Todd, the argument, as I understand it, goes this way. You bail out these economies, the American taxpayer basically helps countries that will not reform themselves. What's the counter-argument?
Well, Peter, it's a little bit like paying protection money to the mob. If you're a shopkeeper, you feel awful about doing it, but you wonder whether you'll feel worse if you don't. The U.S. government and the IMF are effectively making out checks to these East Asian governments because we want to keep their financial and stock market problems far away from our own.
Now, the same argument goes that the United States is going to help out American banks who've made unwise, risky investments, and that if you do so, they won't be discouraged from doing it again.
Well, and I think that argument has a lot to it. In fact, if these governments permitted bankruptcies, if even American investors who bought bonds or stocks in those companies suffered losses, they would think twice and realize that this market, any legitimate market that is, has ups and has downs, and it's not all about profits. There are losses, and we must keep the system honest, and that means permitting some bankruptcies.
Okay, Todd Buchholz, thanks very much. An argument that will continue in the next several days. We'll have more news from today in just a moment.
Drive family sedans, 4x4s, and small city cars. But when we roll the window down, we all feel the same warm spring wind. We read reports, talk to friends, look under the hood. But when we sign the paperwork, we all wonder, is it reliable? Will it last? We carry groceries, we carry lumber, we carry life. And we all want to feel safe doing it. Making a lot of different cars and trucks makes us, well, a car company. Making them all deliver the things that matter most makes us GM. The company you count on wherever life takes you. General Motors, people in motion.
Has frequent heartburn been a persistent problem for you? Have you treated it but still suffer on 2 or more days a week? Do you keep getting heartburn even though you've changed your diet? Your heartburn may be due to a potentially serious condition called acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor if Prilosec is right for you. Just 1 Prilosec capsule daily can provide 24-hour acid control. Prilosec is not for everybody. Only your doctor can decide if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. To learn more, call this number, ask your doctor or pharmacist, or see our Life magazine ad. Want 24-hour acid control with just 1 daily capsule? Ask your doctor about Prilosec.
You can call your family to dinner.
Attention! Dinner is served.
Or let the warmth and aroma of hot home-baked bread do it for you.
Must be time for dinner.
Pillsbury Dinner Breads.
Good call.
There was new fuel added today to the debate over human cloning. 19 European nations signed a ban on the practice, but Britain, where the research has made the most progress, and Germany, which says existing laws already forbid it, did not join them. President Clinton has expressed interest in a similar ban for the entire United States. The American Council on Education has released its annual survey on the attitudes of college freshmen, nearly 350,000 of them. And we learn that today's freshmen are more career-oriented, many are bored in class, and less inclined than their parents to be involved in the political system. Only 21% of today's freshmen say they vote, and only 27%, the lowest percentage ever, say the political affairs of the country are important to them. 30 years ago, by contrast, 58% of freshmen said they were interested in the way the country was being run. So why do they go to college? In the survey, 75% say financial security. In 1968, only 41% said that earning a living was the main reason for a college education. It was an interesting weekend in professional golf. Casey Martin, the disabled golfer we told you about last week, won the Lakeland Classic in Florida. He's attracted attention because he's suing the PGA for the right to use a cart. During tournaments, they don't want it. Medicare is paying far too much for the basics. When we come back, that's your money we're talking about.
In 1993, we changed everything. Dodge became the new Dodge, and the new Dodge became Intrepid. Now we're changing the way cars are created. Today's new Intrepid is the world's first car designed, assembled, and proven on computers, enabling a degree of precision never before possible. Welcome to the world of the new Dodge Intrepid. We're changing everything. Again.
If you've tried to quit but are still smoking, try something different. Not a patch, not a gum, but prescription medicines that can help you quit smoking. Ask your doctor or call 1-888-959-STOP and get ready for success.
Four chocolate shakes, onion rings, and a burger with pickles and onions.
You're not going to eat that.
Come on, it's a celebration. Hey,
that would give me such indigestion.
Not if you took a Pepcid AC first.
You take Pepcid AC?
How else could I eat here? Just one, and I don't even get heartburn.
So no more Tums for you, huh?
Hey, Mom, want an onion ring?
Before or after, you can be heartburn-free with Pepcid AC.
No matter what you drive, Pep Boys has over 40,000 custom name brand wheels. Now get 4 white spoke wheels for only $99. 4 truck wheels, just $99. Plus, use your Pep Boys credit card and get 90 days same as cash. Pep Boys, everything but gas.
If you experience vaginal dryness, now there's Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer. It's like bringing back your own natural moisture. Just a few clear drops replace your body's own natural moisture, relieve dryness, and it's smooth as liquid silk, never greasy. Developed with a woman gynecologist, Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer has natural aloe, and it's safe to use every day. It's like bringing back your own natural moisture with Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer.
Tonight, another day of 2020 at a new time. Husband never listens. It's the #1 complaint of wives.
When I'm not listened to, it makes me feel that I'm not a priority and that I'm not loved.
We'll tell you what to do.
Start your week off right with 2020 Monday.
Finally from us this evening, our regular Monday report about how the government spends your money. There's been a lot of talk from the president about getting younger people to buy their way into the Medicare program, letting them anyway. The criticism has been that the Medicare system cannot afford it. Medicare short of money? ABC's Jackie Judd has a classic report on how Medicare spends your money.
Imagine walking into a grocery store and paying twice as much as you need to for a box of cereal or a loaf of bread, or pulling up to a pump and paying twice as much for a gallon of gasoline. It's what Medicare does every day when it pays for items like wheelchairs, walkers, and canes.
It's all done legally. This is legal, but it's still a ripoff.
The ripoff involves the $3.5 billion tax dollars spent by Medicare on supplies and equipment every year.
How could this happen? Unbelievably, Congress and the agency that oversees Medicare do not require competitive bidding by suppliers. In fact, they're paid top dollar at prices fixed way back in 1986, even though prices on the open market have plummeted since then. So somebody could walk into a store and pay far less for a piece of equipment than what Medicare pays. That's true.
Sit down. What's also strange but true is even another government department, the Veterans Administration, pays far less than Medicare. The VA does enforce competitive bidding, and the results are startling.
This is a saline solution, very simple saline solution. We found that Medicare was paying over $7.30 for this one bottle. Veterans Administration was paying a little over $2 for the same bottle.
Another example, Medicare pays $76 for the same walker the VA buys for $25. The total overpayment on just 18 items surveyed, $236 million every year. Suppliers claim all that extra money guarantees quality. To guarantee the system continues, those same suppliers have invested time and money in cultivating Congress. And so far it's worked. Congress did recently approve a small program to test how competitive bidding for equipment and supplies works. The critics call that a timid step when billions are at stake. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening, 2020 Monday, the lengths to which some bosses go to spy on their employees. And on Nightline tonight, they're going to debate the issue of sanity. Is the accused Unabomber Ted Kaczynski fit to defend himself from the death penalty? I'm Peter Jennings. Hope you have a good evening and good night.
Tomorrow, convicted of cold-blooded murder, sentenced to death. Now she says she found God. Should she escape execution? Watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
Tonight, one of the firm is a key witness to murder.
We gotta be able to do something to protect her.
Time for the lawyers to start defending outside the courtroom.
I don't think you should ID the guy. Your life could be at stake.
And it gets personal.
That a threat?
An all-new practice tonight at 10, 9 Central on ABC.